Connected City Design Challenge is an urban design competition seeking design strategies to connect downtown Dallas and the Trinity River, curated by Larry Beasley and produced by the City of Dallas's City Design Studio.
Okay, it's Larry Beasley, and I am now going to present the text that I presented to the Trinity Commons lunch on March 28, 2014. The title was The Remarkable Connected City Design Challenge, Big Ideas for Transforming Dallas. I'm always glad to be here in Dallas, and I'm particularly honored today to be presenting here at the Trinity Commons. I know that the people who are involved in the Trinity Commons are great advocates for the Trinity River. And when you get together, usually you talk about the river. But today, I want to shift off the river to its hinterland, and specifically the vast area between the downtown of Dallas and the Trinity River. Now, many of you know about the Connected City Design Challenge for this area, the competition that we completed last year. Well, today, I want to tell you about the results, the amazing visionary ideas that we received, and I want to suggest how to move this forward quickly using some interesting, inspiring examples from other cities. Now, let me start by reminding you what this place looks like right now. In a word, it's quite a mess. It looks like this, a free fire zone of freeways and bridge ramps and infrastructure, and leaving hundreds of acres of property that have been effectively neutralized for other urban uses. And this isolates the Trinity from the downtown, and it frustrates your efforts to secure the full potential of the Trinity. And it looks like this. A visual pollution at the most utilitarian of standards that mars the beauty of the city and of the river, but a picture that has unfortunately become a part of the undeniable overall image of Dallas, an image that diminishes the economic potential of everything around it. And it looks like this, seemingly inevitable, a scar on the urban fabric of Dallas that it seems cannot be fixed. It could cause one to despair. But you know what? We don't have to despair, because the competition of last year proved that this can be repaired. This can be fixed. There is a way forward, away from despair, towards a positive aspiration. Now, many people in this room played a big part in this competition. The City Design Studio at City Hall got it all going under the great leadership of Brent Brown. Here is our international and local panel of jurors. We had people from many parts of the world arguing hard for the various ideas that came forward. Here are our partners. Here are our sponsors. We had wide sponsorship of the effort. And here are the local landowners who collaborated with us. We felt it was essential that the landowners, the big landowners at least, be involved. And we also had, fortunately, several thousand Dallas citizens involved in events and a wonderful traveling exhibition. This has been a truly community-wide affair. And it became a truly worldwide challenge. In a professional stream from over 30 submissions, we shortlisted 3 world-recognized groups of urbanists, and here they are. From Rotterdam, OMA, from Barcelona, Ricardo Bofill, and from New York, Stoss and Shop. Now, we couldn't decide on a winner. The jury argued and went back and forth, but after a lot of debate, we finally recognized the Stoss and Shop group for a special commendation, not saying that they were the winner necessarily, but for special commendation because of the overall coherence and power of their submissions. In an open stream, literally available to anyone who wanted to participate, we had over 107 submissions from 23 countries, from 21 universities, and we shortlisted for special recognition, a prize, you might say, several particularly fascinating proposals. Here they are. From Osaka, from Romania, of course, from right here in Texas, and from Michigan. And when we put it all together, we found that there were 4 amazing propositions, big moves that make a lot of sense for Dallas. So let me turn to these very cool possibilities. The first big proposition was a pervasive confirmation from all of the urbanists that there is enough land available here to make at least 3 new complete neighborhoods along the river, connected to the city and along the river. High density, mixed use, contemporary, wonderful places to live and work and play in the future for Dallas. And we were shown how development could be overlaid with upper and lower grades, 2 different but related worlds. One at the true ground level, below the levees, admittedly separated from the river, but with its own urban vibe and recreation amenity, and the other at the level of downtown and the top of the levees, which we discovered are actually at the same level, the downtown and the top of the levees. And this would then offer the lavish amenity of the entire Trinity corridor spread before your eyes. We were also shown how neighborhoods could be linked across the freeways, especially at the higher level with umbilical cords back to the downtown and to the river. The job now is for the city to actually design these neighborhoods in detail, to do it comprehensively, to do it with the landowners, to involve the public, and to be bold about it. It would also be smart, at the same time, to immediately ban any further intrusions of automobile infrastructure into the area, to also start the process to remove the correctional facilities. Who really needs jails with waterfront views? And to design the already committed toll road as a true urban boulevard with mixed use on both sides and a lovely streetscape with elegant plazas to view and enjoy the river. And this last action is especially urgent because the toll road is being laid out by engineers as we speak. But it will need a different set of design parameters if it's to be the waterfront promenade that the urbanists have described for us. Just imagine what kind of new inner-city Dallas communities that these might be. Here are some images of the new waterfront areas of Vancouver. There is a different relationship to open water, I admit that, but these neighborhoods were taken from old rail yards and from old industrial sites, and they were pulled right over existing rail operations. Here are some images from Rotterdam in the Netherlands of glamorous new neighborhoods hatched from obsolete old industrial piers. And you can see that these are wonderful places to be in and wonderful additions to their cities, and they were all rescued from the junk pile. And I think Dallas can do even better in these 3 wonderful new neighborhoods between the downtown and the river. The second of those big propositions involves an exceptional existing asset that the urbanists felt had been overlooked here in Dallas for way too long. I'm talking about the water bodies that sit outside the levees as a residual of the old original river channel. Now, the urbanists felt that these could be extended into a water spine that might link the whole area together. They felt this water spine could provide a powerful draw for people to come to the area for recreation and for amenity, and a very powerful amenity in and of themselves around which new housing and public institutions could cluster. Just look at this image. Imagine a neighborhood with this kind of setting of water. It could give shape and personality to the whole place. And it's very telling that these are now called sumps by the city, and they're seen mainly as a utility system in the fight against floods, and there's no argument with that. It has to be that way. But they could be so much more. Peel away the utility dimension, and they could be so much more. And that is the key message from the competition. Now, to make this happen, the water utility engineers and the urban planners have to work together, and they have to complete a new design which adds urban amenity to all of those technical infrastructure requirements. And what better time to start this than right now, because at this very moment, the utility aspects of the water system are being actively rethought for contemporary flood control, and money is on the table to do something right now. And this is a once-in-a-generation chance to transform these sumps. Better said, to transform this water. Just imagine what Dallas would look like with a whole framework of water bodies as the central amenity of the new city area, of all these new city neighborhoods outside the levees. Of course, you have the inspiration of a city right here in Texas, San Antonio, where the river has become the dominant feature of the whole city. And I think these pictures should remind you of the possibilities that I'm sure many people in this room have experienced many times. But I also like the clever way the water system was rediscovered in Providence, Rhode Island, from a forgotten nothing to become the showcase of their city. And here are some pictures that show how a simple line of water can be claimed for the public, and in their case, used as a setting for an absolutely glorious art installation called Waterfire. Why can't Dallas do the same audacious thing with your sumps? A third big proposition was, to some degree, the most astonishing of all, because it was such a simple idea, but to do something so dramatic. And that was that landscape, boldly applied, has a lot to do with the future, the healthy future of this area. The urbanists were emphatic that hundreds of acres of freeway verge and leftover spaces are languishing just because no one's paid attention to them, but that artful landscape moves could buffer the automobile infrastructure and offer the most memorable experience that people could have as they zoom through the area in their cars, or more importantly, as they live and work and enjoy the area. An amazing related idea is that this landscape might actually pay for itself and even become profitable if it is seen as a cash crop initiative, not just a public embellishment. The urbanists talked about city farming, and they talked about revenue forests as a starting point. Well, there's really nothing to stop this being chased down right now. Why not pull together a smart group of academic experts from Texas University? After all, you have some of the smartest Aggies in the country. Why not pull these people together with TxDOT and some very motivated citizens, for example, the Texas Tree Foundation, and form a working group to invent both a suitable agricultural plan and, maybe more importantly, an implementation structure to get this off the ground. Just imagine all those acres that could be in productive use with beautiful green results. Now, you might be thinking that this doesn't sound too realistic, but let me offer the example of the Soul Food Street Farms in Vancouver as a very provocative inspiration. This is a nonprofit society in the profitable business of urban farming, using leftover spaces in the inner city for their farms. They have over 6 acres under till right now, with market gardens that serve local restaurants and subscribing households. And they're making a lot of money. And in their case, a spin-off benefit is that they employ street people who were previously classified as unemployable, and they offer a portion of their production to the local food bank. It's a win-win situation for everyone that could be on the ground here in Dallas in less than a year if everyone gets behind it. And the money now spent by the highway authorities for maintenance could be leveraged as the startup funding for this new business venture. And I could see this vision easily stretched to tree farming and nursery plantations, not just the market gardening that you see in Vancouver. And I think this would be the talk of America and say something quite special about the green agenda here in Dallas. And what I just learned today is that you have some people already doing this in your city. Well, bring those people here to this area and spread their operation and magnify their operation to be so much more than it probably is right now. And the fourth big proposition has to do with activating the area as soon as possible so people can get excited about it. The urbanists made a big point that people now just see a backwater, so they don't really expect or demand that it be much more than that. They felt an aggressive program of artist interventions and public engagement through programming could turn this around. They were emphatic that a new image for the area was the first step to a new future for the area because public demand will be the best driver for a fast change in this area as it is anywhere. And I couldn't agree more, and I think it would be a perfect project for the Trinity Trust to take on as its next major initiative related to the river agenda. I haven't met anyone anywhere more powerful in this country or anywhere else in the world than Gail Thomas and her team at the Trust when it comes to getting these kind of things done. And I think you know that better than I do, that this is a miracle group. And that power can be brought to this idea right away. Imagine if your view of the area is no longer of a place to get through as fast as possible, but rather a destination that's captured your attention. Just as a teaser, let me tell you how some other people are approaching this in other cities in two different ways. One is something called the BMW Guggenheim Urban Lab that has programmed in Berlin and New York and other cities to bring average citizens, often focusing on young people, to a new consciousness of urban places. They draw them into an area, foster an in-depth experience, usually a forgotten kind of area. They measure and they count and they photograph and they talk to people and they document all of their findings in fun and unusual ways. And then this leaves them with a totally different frame of ideas about the area. And something like this lab could vest here in Dallas to the people a completely new sense of the potential in this area. And that's exactly what is needed. Well, the other idea that I just love is the Vancouver Biennale of Art. This is a biannual public art exhibition with world-famous artists installing major art pieces into forgotten public spaces in the city. The installations stay for about 9 months. And because most of the pieces are changed each season, occasionally one is purchased and left in place, but most of them change, this draws the attention of tens of thousands of people. It spins off all kinds of related art programming and has literally reinvented the spaces that enjoy all this attention. Imagine if that kind of initiative found a home in the many interstitial spaces all along the freeways and sumps and levees here in Dallas. It could be wonderful and memorable and would definitely change people's perspective. And that's what art is all about. So there are 4 of the biggest and most provocative of the ideas that we discovered from this competition. Or I should say that we rediscovered from this competition because this kind of creative thinking has generated some of these ideas in the past. But, I guess it was just too early. The time had not come. But the time now has come. And these ideas make me very excited for Dallas. But these are just a start of what was offered by those urbanists from all over the world who contributed to this program. I think a whole commission might be convened by the mayor to study all the proposals for even more ideas, like this particular one, a very smart scheme to build public and private partnerships at very key locations, bridging over the freeways and over the other transportation infrastructure. This would be like mining for gold. And so I certainly recommend, Your Worship, that you convene this commission and undertake this exploration. But you know, having said that, the 4 propositions that have been talked about today, in and of themselves, would be transformative for Dallas, even if nothing else happens. This ideas competition also taught us a lot. We learned that there is great opportunity in these lands. They do not need to be seen as a liability. We learned that it is not necessary to deny the essential auto infrastructure in making better use of these lands. But we do have to manage that infrastructure and balance it with all the other things that make a great city. The one-dimensional designation of land and the utilitarian design attitude and standards that we settled for in the past are not the way to go in the future. We must be more clever. We must be more artful. And we learned that ideas from elsewhere can be applied quite productively in Dallas to rebind the city and the river. If these ideas are practical in other places, then they can be made practical for Dallas. But we also learned that Dallas will invent totally new ideas that are not seen everywhere. That's what you do. You transform something, you make it different, you make it new, and that too is essential. But mostly, I think Dallas can be truly inspired by this competition. You do not have to settle for the status quo that is out there right now, that is clearly detrimental to this city. You can be audacious as other cities are becoming audacious. There is no shortage of ideas. Your minds, I think, have been open to the possibilities, and given the natural creativity of the Trinity Commons and the Trinity Trust and of this whole community and the drive and money that's in this town, I think that this may be the most important result of all. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching this video. For more information, please visit connectedcitydesign.com.